Here's a woman that's saying, her name is Ruth Joseph. She's saying she married her husband because she loved him, but wasn't in love with him. She loved that he loved her. She loved that he took excellent care of her. She loved that he loved her daughter as if she were his own, which is impossible. She loved that he loved her family as if they were his own, which is impossible. And she loved that he worshiped the ground she walked on. All of those things sound crazy, right? But look at the first line again. She married her husband because she loved him, but wasn't in love with him. Why? Because a woman understands that whoever is in love is in a position of powerlessness. Here's a man who's in love with a woman who admitted she's not in love with him. How does that work? You could have gone anywhere to get the lies, but I know you came here to get the truth. Welcome to the Alphasphere.
Welcome to the Alphasphere, the only place on the planet that's totally engulfed in positivity and totally submerged in alpha energy. I'm your host, Dr. BOA.
Okay.
If you're a really highly successful woman who's doing very well financially, men don't date with those standards. Yeah. You date with who makes you happy.
What if she can't get over that? She's like, I want somebody on my level.
Good luck. Have at it. Go for what you want. But I'm just letting you know that your pool of men that are making the kind of money you're making is so slim to none. And then those men don't want you.
Those men don't want you. All of you women making all of this money, you have to understand that a man who's making money doesn't want you. Only a broke man focuses on a woman's money. And here's the thing. I'm not saying you can't have money, but if you have money as a woman, you cannot present that out the same way that a man does. You have to present it as a benefit, as a help to whatever a man is doing. You have to say, well, okay, well, I can benefit the situation like this. You can't be like, well, I want this type of man because this type of man, and a man who does this because that man don't want you. You want to control the scenario too much, and a man who got some paper, he ain't finna let you control nothing. He has too much control in his life to give some over to a woman. And any man who does ends up like Russell Wilson, ends up like Russell Simmons, ends up like Tom Brady, ends up like Exhibit, ends up like Neo.
And this is just me, before this makes a damn headline somewhere. I personally am a person that is not angry at living in a blissful bubble of ignorance. Mm-hmm. The truth is rarely pretty. And in this world, in this life, you have to choose your happy. So I choose to believe the truth that makes me happy, as opposed to searching for the ugly truth that's going to mess up my happiness.
Ignorance.
You can't have the same mindset when you're legally married. But here's Neo saying he does. And guess what happened? Brow divorced him anyway.
I even tell my friends, like, yo, if you ever found out anything about my wife, don't bring me that.
Really?
For real. Why would you
the same
mess
way.
with my happy? Why would you do that?
You know what's crazy, Envy? Remember you said you wouldn't want to know if your wife ever cheated on you?
Correct. Who wants to know that? Correct. A lot of people do that. A lot of people do that. But I
think you should only want to know if it's going to change things, right? Like, if you're like, if I find this out, I'm leaving, then that might make it. But if you're like, I'm going to stay with this person anyway.
Listen, I wake up every morning and breakfast is cooked, my kids are taken care of. Every time we around each other, we smiling and happy and things are blissful. And then on my deathbed, somebody tell me that you cheated on me my whole life. I lived a pretty good damn life. I'm not going to trip off that. That's me.
This is how you end up. And none of us wants to end up that way. A man who's worked hard to put himself in a winning position in his life does not want to wake up one day and he has given it all away to some woman.
Because men will sleep with just about anything.
That's true.
And especially if it's private or secret and no one has to know. Mm-hmm. So I've seen women who are 5s.
Yeah.
But they're sleeping with a dude who's a 9.
Yeah.
She's got these ridiculous standards because she actually thinks this means that a man on that level would be with her. But he would never be with her. He's just using her for sex. But she thinks because her vagina has given her access to these men here, that this is the new standard. Men, money. They would never have access to these women, but the money gives them access to this. So for women who are very successful and you want to only date those men in that pool, that men with money have access to women that are not on their level. Do you think he wants you? Men don't look at it like, let's be a power couple. That's a woman thing.
Man, that is real, Rebecca. I think a lot of women don't realize that.
Men don't think like that. That, you know, you're powerful, successful man making money. He wants a woman for peace and love and great sex and stroke his ego. And he's proud to have her on his arm when he goes out. It's kind of like that whole package, you know, for men thing. But that's about it. And as long as you're like a really great woman, you can be great friends and you know, the compatibility is there and everything. But he's not looking at another millionaire woman like, let me be with her because she's a millionaire.
Yeah.
That is not how men think. And so women, you know, if you're doing that, it's very lonely because first of all, there's not a lot of men in those categories. And then on top of that, like I say, you're going to be chasing men who don't want you.
I'm going to be honest with you. That may be the most thorough exchange I've ever heard Rebecca Lynn Pope give. That is 100% accurate. Whenever somebody try to introduce me to a woman, man, is out, man, she make this and she make that and she make that. Dog, I don't care. I don't care. What her energy like? If I needed to hop a plane to get somewhere, can she get there or is she going to be too busy? Does she have too many career things going on? What's her focus? Because I'm going to tell you like this. The more a woman focuses on her career, she starts to lose her femininity. It's just like you as a man. The more you focus on being Mr. Mom, being a house husband, you start to lose your masculinity. All right, let's wrap this up, man, with the queen of all of this dumb shit, Jada Pinkett Smith, who has so little love for this guy that she sends him on trips with his ex-wife, Cherie. But what's telling is that Cherie says what Jada proves she feels for this guy. Let's take a listen.
We're better as co-parents than we were as husband and wife.
That's how it's shaping up to be with me.
We came together.
Yeah.
Did you hear that? That's how it's shaping up to be. I want y'all to listen to that again. Listen to somebody in the background saying that's how it's shaping up to be with them too. Listen.
We're better as co-parents than we were as husband and wife.
That's how it's shaping up to be with me.
We came together.
Yeah.
I want y'all to pay attention.
Have Trey. It took the two of us to make him, but then we shifted and
you guys really enjoy each other. You guys really enjoy each other.
Does that ever get under your skin? Like, wait a minute, because it's like
never.
Man, let me tell you something. When the last time you had a woman that loved your dirty draws, that was absolutely happy for you to be kicking it with your ex? I ain't talking about just being parents. I'm talking about kicking it with your ex. Happy, never bothered by it. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Yes, it gives Will freedom, but it also gives Will a reminder that he's tied everything he's ever built in his life to a woman who don't give a shit about him.
Take trips. I'm not there.
Yeah.
They do their thing.
Yeah, you're gonna have to explain that to the viewers.
Well, yes. I'm not saying that I know.
Not together
romantically,
yes.
but like if he's going on a book tour and his mom is going and his sister, and it's fun for me to watch them enjoy each other.
It's fun for her to watch Will and his ex-wife enjoy each other. It's fun for her. You know why? Because she don't want to do none of that shit with Will. She don't want to go on no trip with Will. She don't want to go to Will book signing. She don't want to be at Will movie premiere. She is happy to have a fill-in. She is happy to have Cherie as a sister wife to do all of the shit she don't want to do. And you know how much stuff she don't want to do with Bill? None of it. She don't want to do none of that with Will, man. This fellow is tied into a situation, man, that is proof to all of you idiots that legal marriage is stupid. It's dumb, man, because you don't have to do it to get the benefits of having a wife. Why are guys perpetuating legal marriage? They want to treat you like if you and your woman live together and y'all pay bills together. And, oh, well, you know, y'all got bills under the same roof. Y'all sleep in the same bed. Y'all got children in the same house, that y'all ain't married because it's not legal. Man, these guys are idiots. We are at the worst times in this society, brothers. And it's at a point where men who have no inkling of what a man should really be are at the forefront trying to teach men how to be men. And listen, easily influenced men, impressionable young men who don't have fathers in their lives are being led to the same emotional, mental, and spiritual slaughterhouse that men generations before them have been led down. At some point, the method has to change. We can't talk about divorce and all of this on one hand and then turn around and say, yes, you should still get legally married. We can't talk about the men who end up wanting to off themselves after the results of a divorce. 10 men per day in the United States off themselves. We're not talking about the ones who tried. We're not talking about the ones who thought about it. We're not talking about the ones who failed. We're talking about the ones who do it. 10 men per day in the United States end it all because of the results of a divorce. Because you know what happens in divorce? Your ass lose everything. You lose everything. You lose everything. And let's be honest. If your libido is in proper working order, you are either going to have a woman with whom you are absolutely sexually compatible. I'm talking about to the point where you don't need another woman because every time you're around that woman, she just does it for you. That's possible. Or you're going to need multiple women. Just the reality of it. See, here's the deal. The misery of knowing in your heart that a relationship is over, but being unable to reconcile that fact because you have so much to lose if you end it, it's the one thing that makes marriage absolutely stupid. If you can't leave a woman because you got to pay more than you can afford to pay just to go your own way, how smart can that decision be? How smart can that decision be? And none of these men who promote it have been married long enough to say, well, you don't have to worry about that. I want to see these guys, man, who just got married. I want them to see it down. I want to see them 10 years down the line, 15, 20 years down the line, saying this same stuff when they've lost their will to do anything other than be a husband. Let me tell y'all, man, you can't be ashamed of a long-term relationship failing because most of them do anyway. You can't do that. If it's over, it's over. If it's over, it's over. You cannot allow other people to interfere in your life in a way that causes you to sign on for a catastrophic event like marriage. Because here's the thing about divorce. The number one reason for divorce, the number one cause of divorce is legal marriage. Without it, there is no divorce. So for all of those things you can do all of those things without a legal marriage. Why is the legality of it being pushed so much? Because these men don't even understand they're being used to tie you into a situation that renders you powerless. Renders you powerless. Learn to say no to misery and yes to peace and tranquility. Learn to say no to misery and yes to sanity. Stop accepting whatever negative energy comes with sacrificing yourself and your joy to be a full-time contributor to someone else's happiness. That's what legal marriage does. It makes you a party to your own freedom being stripped, your own ability to think for self, and then think of everyone else as a secondary thought. You stop growing into who you're supposed to be when you legally marry a woman and start growing into who she wants you to be. Can you find a woman who's worth that? I don't know. But you shouldn't have to. Because you should always remember, you already have the life that she needs to fit into. You don't adjust that life so she can fit into it. You keep moving until you come across a woman who fits into it. And if you don't, you keep protecting that life from being altered by someone who doesn't mean it or you any good.
It's time, though. We're not having a trouble, everyone. Let's just make that very clear, because you know that will be the next rumor.
Make it clear.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing to see a man who knows better than to go a certain path and he goes there anyway. It's embarrassing to see a man fall head over heels in love with a woman that he know was already with somebody else when she started messing with him. It's embarrassing to see a man marry a woman who left her husband for him. It's embarrassing to see these guys who've only been married for a month talking about how great marriage is and how everybody else should be doing it. It's embarrassing for a guy to ask me, well, what's your problem? You don't have the same experiences that CGA has, so you shouldn't feel the same way. You should wait until you have to go through those same things. It's embarrassing, man. It's embarrassing. All of these things are embarrassing, and they're embarrassing because they should have to be that way.
Your bitch want me to come through. She said she think of me when she with you. She really want a man to treat her right, and I can be the man La Mama need for tonight.